spoke. It's Washington State and Houston. If Washington State loses that game, is the Pac-12 in trouble? Is the Pac-12 in trouble? I believe so. There's not a lot of teams in the Pac-12 that I feel are good or even should be considered a playoff contender. A lot of people are still riding the Oregon train. They still like Washington, Stanford. I was liking Stanford until they lost to USC. Um, USC is still high. They gotta, if they continue to win their games, I can see USC maybe slipping into that playoff conversation, but we got to see them win some more games. We got to see them win some more games. If Washington State loses to Houston, I believe the Pac-12 is in trouble. I believe the Pac-12 is in trouble. Tomorrow night, Hawaii has to play Washington. They have to play the Huskies. And right now, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors are looking good. I'm not saying like elite good or they should be the favorite in the Mountain West or anything like that. I'm just saying they are tripping up the Pac-12 teams that you believe should win those games. Arizona, no one thought Arizona was going to lose to Hawaii. Kevin Sumlin, no one thought that. No one thought Hawaii would beat Oregon State. No, I picked that game. I was like, that's a game to keep an eye out on. Can Hawaii beat Oregon State? And they did. Now they can go for the sweep. It's not a 4-game sweep, but it's a sweep. It's like in baseball, the first round. You get those 3 wins, that's a sweep. That's the end of the series. Can Hawaii beat Washington Huskies? The way Washington looked against Cal, I believe they can. I believe they can. I believe they will go 3-0 against the Pac-12. And that right there alone would be damaging to the Pac-12. A team outside the Power 5 come in and get 3 wins. Back to back. Week 1, week 2, week 3. Back to back. That would be damaging to the Pac-12. Oregon already lost to Auburn. They have no one else on that schedule. Utah doesn't have anyone on that schedule. Arizona State was another team that I was liking. We're gonna talk about Arizona State because they got a good game against Michigan State. But the Pac-12 might be locked out. I know a lot of people not gonna like hearing that. They don't want to hear that. The Pac-12 not gonna make the playoffs. It's reality though. It is very likely that the Pac-12 will be locked out again, especially if Ohio State does what they're supposed to do and the Big 12 does what they're supposed to do. So you got the Big 12, the Big 12, the Big 10, SEC, and the ACC. That's 4 conferences right there. 4. And right now, everyone is high on LSU. Off one game. I'm just saying, off one game. It's a long season. We are in week 3, but it's a long season. I just don't see the Pac-12 making the playoffs. I don't see the Pac-12 making the playoffs. Oregon needed to beat Auburn, and Washington could not lose to Cal the way they lost. And they might lose tomorrow night. I'm going to go ahead and pick that game. I'm saying Hawaii is going to complete the sweep. Hawaii will complete the sweep 3-0 against the Pac-12. That's my prediction. The next Pac-12 game, we got USC against BYU. BYU looked pretty good against Tennessee. But that was against Tennessee. It's not the Tennessee of old. Peyton Manning, T. Martin. I don't know. But it was a good game that they had to play defense on. They defensively looked solid. USC, I'm make sure I say his name. Slavis. I think I said his name right. That young kid can throw the ball, and then that air raid offense. I like them. I said it last year and this year. They got a lot of talent. They just need a system. They need some time. I mean, the talent's there. They need the opportunity. And if this is the offense that they're gonna run, throwing the ball all over the field, go get it. I put it up in there. You go get it. You outrun the defender. I mean, that's pretty simple. It, it's pretty simple. It's air raid offense. I can see USC winning that game, beating BYU and finishing out the week 3-0. They're ranked 24 right now. I mean, that's pretty high for that USC team after the years of struggling. That is a confident, very confident wave that will carry them. They beat Stanford without their main quarterback. They beat them with a freshman quarterback. They beat them with a freshman quarterback. I can see USC. Their schedule is set up pretty nicely for them. The schedule is set up pretty nicely for USC. They got Notre Dame early. If they get in that game and they take care of business and they haven't lost, that might be the Pac-12's only hope of getting into the playoffs through USC. Yeah, I believe that would be the only way they get into the playoffs because America loves USC. That's the only team that I can see them having a real debate about USC. Even though they ain't really played anyone. I can see them really debating and really trying to figure out how to get USC into the playoffs. They haven't been up there in a long time. It's been a long time since USC has been in the spotlight. And if they're undefeated, that's the only way the Pac-12 gets into the playoffs. But other than that, I don't see no other team representing the Pac-12 in the playoffs. Let's move on to my other games that I have highlighted here. I have Iowa and Iowa State, and I have that Iowa State highlighted, that game highlighted. I want to see how Iowa State plays against Iowa. It will give me a clear vision of how they're going to play Texas and Oklahoma. Those are two different teams, but if they compete very well against Iowa, I can see them maybe trying to trip one of them up for their national title hopes. I mean, they came close to Texas last year. So that's one game I'm watching very close to see uh, how focused they are in that game. It's a state in-state rival game. They're at home. Game day is gonna be there. All the chips are on the table. That game can help them carry some momentum into the rest of the season. And then I got Arizona State and Michigan State. Both teams haven't played anyone in the early season. Herm Edwards has a young team, but I also knew that he wasn't going to put his players in a position to have them lose a game. He's going to keep the ball on the ground, pick his spots where he needs to throw it, and make sure his team is playing solid defense to keep them in the game. And it's set up just like how Michigan State is set up, defensively sound. The big question is how they look on offense. How do they look on offense? I believe this will be the game they'll get tested. Both teams will be tested. We'll find out more about both schools, about both teams, Arizona State and Michigan State. So that's a game that I have highlighted to watch. Another one, Florida and Kentucky. Which Felipe are we getting? Which quarterback for Florida are we getting? I can't figure him out. In that game against Miami, I thought that Florida team was gonna not run them over, but show a little bit more on offense, and they didn't do that. Felipe was inconsistent throughout the whole game. So which Felipe are we getting in that Kentucky game? Kentucky is looking to win back-to-back games against Florida for the first time in this decade. They haven't done it. Back-to-back games. This game is going to be in Kentucky, and it's a night game. A night game in Kentucky. I'm picking Kentucky to win that game because I don't trust the Florida Gators. Their defense is solid. I don't trust Franks as a quarterback. I I don't trust Franks as a quarterback. I hope Dan Mullen was playing with both quarterbacks in the previous game, so they can see if they need to pull him, they can feel more confident about putting in a younger guy. But I don't trust him. And this game is in Kentucky at night. I can see Kentucky pulling up an upset and winning that game. Um, LSU playing an off brand school. Not even gonna say their name. It's not even important. But I highlighted it because I wanted to see, are they gonna come off the emotional high of last week's game against Texas? How are they gonna respond? Are they gonna be focused? Because if you're an elite team and you're championship quality, you're saying that you should be recognized as a championship team. Then how are you gonna respond? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna come out against a softer team? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna come out there and handle business? So that's what we're looking for with that LSU game. Are they gonna come out there focused and put the game away in the first half, or are they gonna come out there sluggish and use, well, we played a tough game against Texas, so I mean we're emotionally drained. We put all our chips in that pot, so we laid an egg against us. No, 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 no. If you're saying that you have a Heisman candidate for a quarterback and your team is ready for the playoffs and that you're ready to take on Alabama, you need to come out in that game and put your foot on their throats and end it in the first two quarters. It should not be a struggle win. It should be a dominating win by LSU. So we'll keep an eye on that game. Remember, folks, I'm telling you, these are the games that you have to pay attention to. Pay attention to these games and see how these teams play out. They're going to affect something. And this week, I mean, we got Notre Dame against New Mexico, and we got Georgia against Arkansas State. Will these teams come out focused? Not looking ahead to next week, because that's going to be a big game. Will they come out focused for this week's game? Ready. I'm sorry about my lighting. I don't know what's going on. I see it flickering or something. But yeah. Will these teams come out ready and focused to take care of business, or will they be looking too far ahead and trip up? Georgia is playing Arkansas State. I don't expect them to lose their games, but I expect them to hand these teams there to come in that game and take care of business. I don't want to see them struggling because they're looking forward. Georgia should definitely handle Arkansas State. And in this Notre Dame New Mexico game, the things that I have to see in this game is Book. I need to see Book in the pocket throwing the ball. I need to see Book in the pocket throwing the ball, being patient, not getting all jittery and wanting to take off. I don't know if he felt too nervous in that Louisville game, but again, I mean, I did like that Notre Dame was able to run the ball. Again, it was against Louisville, but I didn't think they were going to be able to run the ball that well. They did run the ball very well. Defense was solid. I still see the speed. The experience is. I mean, you can only work with what you work with, but for the most part, the defense was solid. I want to see more from Book. I need to see him throwing the ball and pushing the ball down the field. They have a weapon in Claypool. They need to use him. They need to figure out how to get him involved more and how to push the ball further down the field. So that's a couple of things I want to see in that New Mexico game. And then in the Georgia and Arkansas State game, I just want to see them come out and dominate. I want them to come out and dominate and be like, we're ready for this week. Take care of business. Get it all done. move on to the next week. That's what I want to see in that Georgia Arkansas State game. This should not be a struggle win for Georgia at all. This should be come in, take care of business, move on, and get ready for Notre Dame. As you see, it's Georgia and Notre Dame. Yeah. And boom. That's next week. So, uh, and since we're talking about next week, bring it up next week. Coming Sunday, the 15th, I have Mark Sko Jr. from WNDU. We'll be talking. We will recap week 3 and then be looking forward to the Notre Dame Georgia game. That's Sunday. So make sure you tune in live on Facebook. On this, show you the link